morning, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Thank y'all so much for tapping back in to see what I have to say. I promise y'all, it truly does mean the world to me. But with that being said, what we're talking about Quant Network in this one, okay? But before we get started, I want to thank each and every single one of you for liking, commenting, subscribing, the support and the community that the channel is building. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you, okay, you guys? But Quant Network, and yes, you saw on that thumbnail, JP Morgan. Now this week, JP Morgan announced a stable coin. We've had so many stable coin announcements because of things like the Genius Act passing through Congress and being signed into law by President Trump 3 weeks ago, somewhere around in there, right? So now we have one of the largest banks in the world now getting directly into the retail stable coin game, JP Morgan, okay? Follow me on this because Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO of JP Morgan, has had multiple interviews in regards to crypto and Bitcoin, and he hasn't said very favorable things about it in the past. But one thing I will say is that he's always embraced the actual technology, and he said multiple times that they use the technology and utility tokens and things of that nature, but he just didn't agree with the store of value that Bitcoin is. But anyway, won't even get into all of that. Just know that JP Morgan Chase has come to the party to play, okay? Follow me on this because you know I'm always going somewhere. This first video, we're getting into that interview with JP Morgan Chase's CEO, Jamie Dimon, and I will be right back.
Crypto, in your view, is okay?
Blockchains. Yeah, the use of blockchains for money, moving data, we already use it. Stable coins are real. How they're used and how they're protected by regulators is an issue they have to deal with. I think a lot of the folks in DC know that. JP Morgan is already using blockchain for intraday repo, moving of data. Yeah, blockchain itself will work, and that's kind of crypto. Right? Crypto contracts, embedded contracts where you can go somewhere and see what this building is. You can buy 0.1% of a building with all the detail and all the data in a permissioned area. Yeah, they'll have uses. Remember, we've been talking about it for 10, maybe 15 years. There hasn't been a lot, right, other than Bitcoin. And Tether now is quite.
Now you guys, you see his stance on the distributed ledger technology sector and the crypto and XYZ, right? Follow me, because it is monumental that a player like JP Morgan is getting into the crypto game. We're talking about this bank that moves billions and trillions in dollars that is now getting into the realm of Web3, and that foot into the door of stablecoin will open up a whole world of different things like DeFi, and they'll be able to stake for this. Remember what the OCC said when I brought you that video of Robert E. Hood, who is the acting chair or whatever the position is over the OCC, but that is who he is. He's over the OCC, all the banks in America. He said the banks now have the power to not only custody crypto for their customers and their clients, but also they can buy and sell at their client's request. What does that sound like? An exchange. Understand what is truly being laid out right in front of our faces. We're talking, these are our traditional bank accounts with Bank of America and JP Morgan and Citi and whoever else you bank with across the country, because it's not just the banks, but it's also the credit unions. Understand truly what's happening right now when you have players like a Quant Network that are there providing programmable APIs that we now already have the Bank of England tied to, the European Central Bank tied to, potentially, which you already know, the Bank of Australia tied to. We know the Bank of Canada is tied to it. We know Amazon's tied to it. Barclays is tied to it. Anyone else who's a part of the RLN is tied to it. And Oracle. We're talking massive players. It was news just, I want to say 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, Oracle CEO became the second richest man in the world, Larry Ellison, the man that is tied to now Quant Network via Overledger, their software as a service that is the infrastructure and backbone of their entire blockchain platform solution, Oracle's. It was an announcement made in February about this, when they literally named Overledger and Quant by name, is now tied to the second richest man in the world. Truly understand what Quant Network has laid out. It is quite beautiful. But anyway, back to JP Morgan and this stable coin, you guys. Follow me on this because I'm always going somewhere. Here's another interview, even more recent interview, right? But this time he's going to actually mention the APIs. Quant Network is right there, the orchestrator of it all. Okay, I'll be right back.
See risks as these two worlds do become more intertwined.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's never been a new financial product that didn't entail risk. So that obviously is going to be risk, and they haven't written all the laws yet. Like, think of the rules around it, like, AML and BSA and KYC and disclosures, and when they say stable coin, which we're going to have. I'm not against stable coins, like a mutual fund, but mutual funds have rules. What are the rules going to be around stable coins? And I think there are really. So I'm a believer in stable coin, a believer in blockchain, not personally a believer in Bitcoin itself. But you're the customer. I don't like to tell customers what they can and can't do with their money. That is a whole different issue for us. And so we're going to accommodate those things. You mentioned that we did a deal with Coinbase, so you can now move money from Chase to Coinbase. We're going to make it easier for people. They've agreed how to use our APIs, which we think is a good thing. So we'll be in it, and we'll see.
And as you can see, he emphasized the APIs. Truly understand that the product, that programmable payment that Quant Network offers as a white labeled service, that Quant Fusion and Quant Pay scripts, understand truly what is being laid out right in front of our faces, because we have already in multiple different times, even my boy Maximus Crypto have before, tied Quant directly into JP Morgan. But anyway, follow me on this, okay, you guys? This is a time in history that if you're positioning yourself in certain key individuals or companies that are cementing themselves into infrastructure, I'm not saying it's a 1,000% guarantee, but it's as close to as something as you could possibly get to, because it's not us just wanting it as retail, but it's actually things like Congress codifying a law in regards to things that you have in hold. Like, truly understand what that meant in the early 90s, coming into the 2000s-ish, when they codified the law for the actual internet, and how anything that was based in the internet that had been putting roots into it flourished and grew like nobody's business. And now we're moving money onto the internet. For the first time in human history, we're moving the value of money onto the internet for the first time in human history. And you have a bank. We already talked about things like BNY Mellon, but now we have JP Morgan Chase now having a retail stablecoin. Okay, you guys, follow me on this. We're going to dive a little bit into that API coming from my boy All In Crypto. Follow me. I'll be right back.
In Chase, Jamie Dimon's JP Morgan Chase and Coinbase launched a strategic partnership to make buying crypto easier than ever. It says direct bank to wallet connection. Through JP Morgan's secure API, Chase customers will be able to seamlessly link their bank accounts to Coinbase's wallet. This direct connection will help mutual customers transact with the confidence, security, and privacy they're used to as customers of Chase. So this is interesting. Matt Hogan, who I think is Bitwise, CIO of Bitwise, says in the future there will be no line between our bank accounts and our crypto wallets. It's going to happen faster than most people think.
Now, you guys just heard what he had to say in regards to JP Morgan and the APIs. This is quite incredible to see that we know everything that we know and have went over in regards to Quant Network and other projects, even XRP and XLM and XDC and IOTA and any other compliant project that truly has been working through this bear market, solidifying partnerships and infrastructure with countries and the biggest brands in the world. Like, it's nothing not to be like, that's quite impressive that you've done that, and especially in this short period of time. But also know, simultaneously with that happening, we have global standards that are also going live. And then simultaneously with that happening, we have now houses of government, parliament, depending on where you sit in the world, what you call your governmental bodies, now all codifying law in regards to crypto and distributed ledger technologies, and not in codifying law, not in a way of banning it, but in a way of completely onboarding it to your processes. I got a video coming out probably tomorrow or the next day about the new SEC chair. This, like, truly saying that they are moving the entire security market onto blockchain. Like, truly understand what's happening right now, right in front of our faces, you guys. But back into JP Morgan, Quant Network, and these APIs, okay? We're going to dive a little bit into some of the figures that JP Morgan has going on. And of course, we're getting ready to tie Quant directly into it. Just give me a second and I will be right back.
Why, as in JP Morgan, why are we investing in ISO 222 messaging? Payments are the backbone of today's economy. Without payments, businesses would be unable to procure for their supply chain or pay their employees, consumers. You get the gist. These statements that you see here are so very, very important. And of course, citation literally comes from Miss Gayatri Vedsudev. I butchered that up. JP Morgan Wholesale Payments, head of global clearing. Right, clearing. And at the end of the day, the RTGS systems, that's major. JP Morgan processes nearly 10 trillion payments daily across 160 countries in 120 currencies. That is major. And I will state this. You guys will eventually find out at some point that Quant is literally JPM coin. And I'm going to call it right now. You will hear about that in the future. Like it says, payments are eating the world. So are they really? Well, it's the terminology. One feature of stablecoins is that when coupled with smart contracts, they are programmable money. 81% of countries representing 90% of global GDP, as in gross domestic product, are now exploring some form of CBDC. Okay, interesting. But what's more interesting is the terminology. Programmable money. Filberverdian, as he points out, he's delighted to announce the launch of QuantFlow, game-changing programmable money platform that transforms money from a simple transaction into a next-generation workflow with advanced programmability, automation, making money work for you. Of course, like it says, the next generation of finance.
I'm Gilbert Verdian. I'm a technologist with a deep background in cybersecurity and a passion in business to make ideas a reality. My philosophy in life is tackling large transformational issues and solving those pain points for the next generation. And it's looking at the technical challenge, the core of the problem, and having that breadth of experience and background to really solve the problem head on. At Quant, we're pioneers in digital money and programmability of all forms of money. This is a transformational shift in the way money works. We have been using a design of money that was made 60 years ago. That hasn't really changed that much. It's binary. It does two things. It's very simple. It's a push and a pull. What is so different to this is money can do multiple things for the first time. It's no longer a push and a pull. It can understand a language, it can understand instructions, and it could do things on your behalf and automate business processes. We've never had this before, and it's the first innovation in the world to bring programmability to all forms of money. The way we want money to work is the same as information. It should be available globally, it should be instant, and it should understand what we need it to do. And that's why Quant Flow does. It solves that problem.
Now, you just heard everything that my brother Maximus Crypto had to say. Like, of course, everybody knows, anybody that knows anything about QNT, Maximus Crypto, that man is the GOAT. The deep dives that he does and the research that he does is incredible. It's incredible. That is a real life true friend. But into Quant, back to Quant, y'all, what Quant has pulled off, like I've said before, it's only second to something like Windows, because when Windows got tied into the IETF, listen to what I'm saying, because we know that Quant is now tied into the IETF, which stands for the Internet Engineering Task Force. But anyway, when they got tied into, not Windows, I'm sorry, Microsoft. But of course, we know Microsoft is Windows. But when Microsoft got tied into the IETF, right around that time that they started building out Web 2.0, and that layer of code was being laid over IBM's code, which was layer 1.0 of internet, which was dial-up. Now understand, when Microsoft came into the game with the IETF, what fit the new version of internet like a glove? Windows. That's why Windows was everywhere. It became what? The standard operating system. Follow me on this, because now we have a player like Quant Network, also tied to the IETF with things like Secure Asset Transfer Protocol. And it's another one coming out of Quant Network and the IETF as well. But I'm not gonna say that acronym because I can't remember it. But also ISO TC 307, the global standard of building on blockchain. Also, multiple different governmental overseeing bodies of things like the Bank of International Settlement, like understand and truly see how they cemented themselves. They didn't go for, I want to get a partnership with a company. They more so said, I want to get a partnership with the infrastructure layer that's it over every company. That's how they hit that out the park. That's why I say what I say in regards to Overledger and them coupling it with things like a internet protocol and a standard. That's major. Truly see what that is, because once things get cemented into things like that, it truly becomes like infrastructure. Even think about things like gasoline. And when that standard of gasoline went out, that means that for every single engine to run efficiently, they all had to be on a certain standard of gasoline to do so. So now for every manufacturer who's making gasoline now has to adhere to this new standard. And understand that Overledger is the standard for Web 3.0. They are that standard operating system, just like Windows was or is, or however Windows, I'm sure they've don't have as much as the lion's share as they once did. But understand and true, every king, has a hot rise and a fall. Every empire since the beginning of time has had a heyday and has had a descent. Doesn't matter. But anyway, to be sitting right on the precipice of someone like a Quant Network's heyday is incredible. Like, truly soak in everything that Gilbert tweets and everything that he has tweeted, everything that is on things like LinkedIn. Like, truly see what this company has built out and has been saying out loud for quite some time. Even like they'll be in Sibos this year, but even when they was in Sibos like 3 or 4 years ago, they were saying it then. It's just nobody was tuned in and listening and understanding truly what they meant by the interoperability in Overledger, truly. But anyway, But now they're coming to Sibos as a discover partner. Like truly understand and see the map that's been laid out and how that discover partner, things like a Quant Network, and I want to say Hedera Hashgraph, that's my number one, my number two. Y'all understand what's being laid out in front of us. But anyway, that means that they don't have to pay to be at this exhibit. They are literally being funded by the people who have the actual suite of things going on. I think it's like a 2 or 3 day event, Sibos is. But so people can come and discover their innovative technology, truly see what this means. And then you also have a Quant Network tied to things like SEPA, which stands for Single Euro Payments Area. And then they tie directly into now the ECB, which is the European Central Bank. Like truly see the stuff that's laid out. You have LACChain in 12 countries in the Central and South America region also utilizing Overledger. Like truly see what's happening right in front of our faces and truly tap in. Because if you have the foresight and the vision to take this journey and ride, and hopefully this journey and ride pays off, the heyday is going to be incredible. So you've made it all the way through this entire video. Type in heyday, because y'all, I want y'all there right along with me when we see this heyday. Till the next time, y'all already know. I appreciate y'all. Peace out.